So that was cool. Michael just mentioned his first meeting with Burroughs and Allen and Corso and all those guys, and I had a similar experience meeting them all, including Dave, in 1982 when they had the first gathering, really kind of like this, a precursor of this in Boulder, where, as Clellon Holmes said of it, more of us were together in one place at one time than had ever been together before. This Boulder 82 thing. So I read some of that yesterday, and I thought, because you know all of these guys really well, and so here's a kind of a nickel sketch of a young person's first impressions when I got there. And so it's sort of an intro, and then a little sketch on Allen, Gregory, Holmes, Huncke, and Burroughs. One of the first and forever impressions I had was being on the inside and hanging with Allen and his loopy longtime lover Peter, and beat bad boy Gregory Corso and cigarette chaining novelist Clellon Holmes in their little homes. Just watching these guys, these old friends who had been brothers of the night and the light since they were the age I was as I was meeting them. And now, here they were, much older, full-grown men who were still pranksterish, still merry, still wizard-like, still plotting cool adventures, still finishing each other's sentences, still knowing what the other meant by just a gesture or a silence, and making each other laugh constantly, but all within the context of productivity, doing things, writing things, working things out. They weren't sitting around talking about sports or half-baked pontifications about politics or trying to prove they were up on the latest band like so many people my age. No. They'd been playing this poetry game forever and probably never noodled in those foolish things. But we're talking about philosophy and spirituality and writing and writers and quoting themselves and quoting others and talking over each other as excited in the moment as little kids. And Allen was definitely the professorial boss, the accepted, but not to say unchallenged, ringleader. He was always carrying around this cloth sort of Guatemalan over-the-shoulder bag full of papers and schedules and books and God knows what, and usually wore some stray suit jacket a couple of sizes too big for him, with some tie a couple of sizes too small. He was gentle but vibrant, soulful but lascivious, clipboard following but constantly poetically improvising. He was sort of the one and only father figure keeping an eye on everything. It was always fun to be around. And he had no problem correcting or admonishing someone, but did so with love and a tender demeanor. He was like a referee in a pickup game, making sure we played by the rules, but knowing the whole game wasn't that serious. Gregory seemed to always have on this black leather vest, looking like a slightly older Dylan from Street Legal, like a hot, happening, sexy dude with a full head of bushy black hair. He would definitely have been the, and probably only, ladies' man in the group. Or at least he fancied himself that way. He didn't give a damn about the outcome of the game, he just wanted to score. He was the puck, the imp, the joker, and the one most likely to be called to the principal's office. Thank God he was in with the principal, or he would have been expelled for sure. And a neat thing I love, the long-form novel writer Clellon Holmes had a slower cadence than the rest, and a softer voice. And when he'd solo on his horn, the rest of the band laid low. There was an unspoken respect, perhaps still stemming from him being the first of any of these soon-to-be famous young men to have a beat book published, his Gone novel, Go. He wouldn't speak too often, whereas Allen and Gregory were like Diz and Bird, constantly playing off of and over top of each other. But John would come in like the organ and lay down these thick, slow chords that would then totally change the next round of soloing. He was Zeppo, the thoughtful straight Marx brother, who didn't really fit in with the others, yet he was one of them and there was nothing he could do about it. What was extraordinary was that they were exactly like I dreamed and imagined they would be, and as they conveyed themselves from the 50s. Close friends just hanging out, but always up to something. And another guy who blew me away early and often was Herbert Huncke. I'm not much one for those junkie guys, but Huncke was a trip. He was so nice, so friendly, the most personable, people-loving person you could ever meet. But it was the guy's cadence, how he spoke. It's no wonder Jack and Allen and company totally dug this guy. I tried to talk to mumbly Burroughs a few times, but he was as freaking weird and misanthropic as he comes across. The adding machine magnet's grandson in the gray flannel suit may have been a queer and a junkie, but other than that, he sure didn't seem to have much in common with the other beats I knew and loved. Not the same celebration of life, joy, optimism, and gushing compassion in his heart. Although Huncke may have shared some of Bill's proclivities, he was personable and gentle and open in his own peculiar way. Just a few degrees shy of being locked in a federal pen, he was a total character. And this was this constant commonality to most of the people in old J.K.'s life. Odd ducks. As a novelist, Jack magnetized to these people as fodder for his fiction. Whereas Allen was sort of a businessman, a promoter, a former market research man, and Gregory was a bit of an aggressive hustler and loose cannon, Huncke was absolutely one of us. Not intimidating in stature or demeanor, just a guy you could sit with for hours, who would engagingly listen to whatever your story was, and then share some wild ones of his own. If anybody in this whole batch of aspiring Buddhists was living in the calm sea of nirvana, it was Herbert Huncke.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah!
Yeah. Got it right.